my goodness. Where do you go? What do you even begin to discuss? Really and truly, that is one of the worst games of football that I have watched in a very long time. One of the worst games of football. Congratulations to Morocco on reaching the AFCON final. Condolences to all my Nigerians and myself included. Once again, Nigeria fall at not even the last hurdle this time. And to be very honest with you, some people will be mad, some people will be frustrated, some people will look at this team and complain time and time and time again. But really and truly, what else are we going to talk about? Everything that you can talk about now is the same things we mentioned against Ivory Coast. It's the same things we saw 4 years ago in the 2021 AFCON. It's the same things we saw in the World Cup qualification. It's the same things. And it's the same thing we see every single time Nigeria play against a big team in Africa. There's no intensity. There's no quickness in their play. There's no real drive, no verve, no real ambition to go out and win the game at the risk of losing it. We saw the performance against Algeria, and we believed that that was a vibe. That was a vibe that they were exposing us to, but they could not maintain it. They could not maintain it. And when I watched that game against Algeria, and I said those words because I meant them, that is the best performance I've ever seen Nigeria play in my life. Because whenever Nigeria win games, even when you go back to the 2015 AFCON win, or sorry, not the 2015, the 2013 AFCON win, there was still an element of tension in that. I might even be wrong about that AFCON year. My head is so gone right now. There was an element of tension in that win. There was an element of grit, having to fight, having to battle. It wasn't clean. Touches were kind of loose. And you saw all those things again today. It feels as though every single time Nigeria play against these sort of teams in these big games, right? The touches aren't sticking. The passes aren't really meeting their man. Our players who have looked good throughout the tournament, they look lost out there. It just looks like everything is collapsing on itself. It just looks so dysfunctional. There's so many times in the game they're hoofing the ball up the field. For who exactly? Is it Osimhen? Is that Core Adams? And you have to give credit to the Morocco defense, just as you would give credit to the Nigeria defense today. They kept Morocco quiet, just as they kept us quiet. And ultimately, the game ended 0-0. And people will come and they'll be frustrated and they'll scream and they'll shout. And you guys will think I might be coming here. I'm not going to do that. Because really and truly, today's game was what I expected. I expected a cagey affair, hard for both teams to break each other down, a lot of mutual respect between the two sides, and no one really taking many risks. And we see this so often in African football. Of course, we see it in international football. But in African football in particular, it feels like any big game, there's just so much. It's so cagey. It's boring to watch. Both teams look like they'd rather not lose the game than win the game. From about the 85th minute, Nigeria basically told themselves, we'll take penalties. We'll take penalties. And really and truly, at that point, when I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, well, what is there really for me to root for? Because it's not as though Morocco are barraging us with attacking, creating chances and bombing down the wings and piercing through us. They weren't doing that. They were not doing that. But at the same time, when we get the ball, where's the composure? We've lauded Alex Iwobi, and rightfully so throughout this tournament. But today, where was he? No real ambition to get the ball, run into play. Of course, Morocco's press was incredible, and you have to give credit to Morocco themselves. Their press was really good, just as Nigeria's was. Of course, Morocco had more shots, Morocco created more chances, but there were very few times where I genuinely felt scared watching the game when Morocco were on the attack. Osayi Samuel on the right side was incredible throughout the game. Bruno at left back was incredible throughout the game. Those wide areas are Morocco's huge strength. And for us, our width is also our strength because those players allow us to be able to support the attackers, especially when you have someone like Lookman playing so centrally, and it's worked throughout the tournament. But in today's game, it wasn't working. It wasn't working because Morocco have the best fullbacks in the entire tournament. Hakimi and Mazraoui shut down those areas of the field whilst also offering a threat the other way. So it makes you think, why is the coach not changing something? Why is the coach not adapting to what he's watching? Why is the coach so timid and so scared to make an adjustment? I don't understand it. You're watching that game today. Akor Adams. Look, I am not going to come on here and ridicule anybody. I'm not going to come on here and insult anybody. I'm not going to do that. Props to Akor Adams. Congratulations on all you've done in your life, in your career. But my goodness, that performance today, Hall of Shame performance. Hall of Shame performance. Nothing could stick to the guy. He could not dribble the ball. Whenever he gets the ball in space, it looks like he's running through mud. Like he's running through mud. And against Algeria, and in every other game in this tournament, we said it. This guy is not good enough. But he was in the right places, which was fine when you have the midfield creating as many chances as they were. But when he's offering you nothing like he did today, nothing, surely you change something. And our coach literally watched this guy do nothing for 100 minutes. And then brought on another player who also did nothing for the remaining 20. So it makes you think, really and truly, what is there to be annoyed about? What is there to be upset about? Because Nigeria did not play well enough to win the game today. They did not play well enough, and neither did Morocco. Neither did Morocco. But if we're judging it between the two sides, Morocco played the better game. They looked like they wanted to really drive forward and cause something and change the structure of the game and try and cause chaos. They were the only team that were really pushing. Nigeria, it kind of just felt like we were content. Oh, yeah, we'll just take it like this. First half, we survive. Okay, second half, you think maybe they come out, they change a few things. Maybe we can start to attack in the second half. Maybe you get Akor Adams off this football pitch, and maybe we can start to see something. Ademola Lookman today, completely and utterly marked out of the game. Completely and utterly marked out of the game. I don't know why he didn't move to the left during the game, adjust, try and adopt different areas of the field, support players. Every single time the ball went out to one of our fullbacks, they are hopelessly crossing the ball. To who? To who? Osimhen is being marked by 3 people. Akor Adams gets the ball and he can't control it. So who are they crossing the ball to? Who are they crossing the ball to? The only players tonight that can hold their head up and say, I put in a good performance, is the defense and the goalkeeper. And it's the same thing we said in the AFCON final. The defense and the goalkeeper. The defense and the goalkeeper. When are these attackers going to really take the game by the scruff of the neck? We thought the Algeria game was the beginning. We thought the game against Mozambique was the beginning. The game was more free-flowing. But those sort of teams, Mozambique especially, they're not as good as you. Algeria, I thought that was an element. I thought that was the beginning of something we might see. I thought that was maybe just a taster. Of course, coming into this game, we were the underdogs. We're playing in Morocco. Morocco had the whole stadium to themselves. They didn't even have the courtesy to give us a little bit of an away section. Maybe give us, 400 fans. I think maybe you could count the amount of Nigerian fans that were in that stadium on your hands and feet. But that's not an excuse. You knew what you were coming up against, the same way we did against Ivory Coast. But the only team today that looked like they wanted to go out and score a goal, go out and win the game in 90 minutes were Morocco. And even then, they didn't play that well. And that's what's frustrating because Morocco didn't even offer that much going forward. Their defense was solid, but I don't even think Nigeria even tried. The Morocco defense today, they didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to do anything today. Whereas you look at the other side, Osai Samuel was one of our best players. Bruno is one of our best players. Calvin Bassey, once again, incredible performance today. Noah Bali in the penalty shootout does his best. Don't even get me started on those penalties. Why is Iwobi not taking a penalty? Why is Osimhen coming off? Why is players like Ademola Lookman not going and taking a penalty? Where are the senior statesmen in this team? Why is Onuachu going and taking a penalty? Why is Chukwueze, who came on with 1 minute left on the clock? I don't even think he touched the ball. Football, those of you watching, if you've never played football, the worst thing you can possibly do, if you've ever gone to any sort of footballing school or any sort of footballing lesson or training, your coach always tells you, never start off with shooting drills. You haven't even touched the ball. You haven't even felt the ball. You haven't even gotten a bit of a feel of the ball. And you're going straight and taking a penalty? In Morocco? against Morocco, you have to look at the coach with that one. Chukwueze barely played in this tournament. I know he has not been that good for Nigeria recently, but are you telling me he would have played worse than Akor Adams played today? I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. The midfield, they did their best today. Onyeka especially, won duel after duel. Onyedika fulfilled the role of Ndidi very well. Moses Simon came on, did next to nothing. He's coming up against Achraf Hakimi. You would believe that when you're coming up against a player like Achraf Hakimi, Lookman will come in support. What is Lookman doing? Nothing. And then you have the whole referee today. The referee was rubbish today. Rubbish. I saw the whole narrative around, oh, he's Ghanaian and the VAR was South African or something. Honestly, I don't care about these narratives, but the referee today was rubbish. Genuinely rubbish. Some of the calls he was giving today, terrible. Equally as terrible as the game of football that we had to watch. Equally as terrible. Equally as terrible. And when Chukwueze misses that penalty, you know it's over. You know it's over. And the series comes, he slots it away, it's 4-2. And I have my friends texting me, they're getting frustrated, they're getting angry. What are you angry about? I'd be frustrated if Nigeria played a terrible game or if Nigeria really went out there and disgraced themselves. This is what we do. This is what this team does. They did it against Ivory Coast last year. We sat back for 100 minutes. We defended nothing. We scored a fluke set piece goal and we continued defending that. We didn't change despite being dominated the entire first half, and we paid the price. Likewise, this time. You hope and you hope and you hope and you let a game go to penalties against a home side. Of course, penalties are a flip of a coin. And on the other hand, I will say Nigeria did very well to stay in the game for as long as they did. But you have to offer a bit more. You have to take a bit of a risk. You have to take a bit of a risk going into that game. I know they're the home team. It's intimidating. But you have to take a bit of a risk at the risk of losing the game. You have to go out there and try and win the game at the risk of losing. You have to. Ultimately, as I said, Morocco move on to the next round. Nigeria fall out and we go to a third place playoff. I don't understand what the point of a third place playoff is. Just get these guys off my TV screen. Morocco will play against Senegal in the final. This is probably the final that most people predicted coming into the tournament. These are probably the two best sides in all of Africa. So it should be a good game, but it probably won't be because big African games are very rarely ever good. They're usually cagey, low scoring, tense, and just a terrible game of football. But I do expect Morocco to win it all, being the host nation. With all this momentum behind them, I think they'll probably win it. Tight game, maybe a 1-0. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to penalties as well. But, of course, as I always say, let me know what you guys thought about the game. What did you take away? Who are you supporting tonight, Nigeria or Morocco? But, of course, as I always say, make sure you leave your comments down below. Don't forget, road to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you enjoy the content, if you watch the videos and you're not subscribed, please, please, please hit the like button, subscribe, share with people who you think might enjoy the videos. As always, let me know your comments down in the comment section below, what you guys thought of the game, who you enjoyed, who you thought was the worst player on the pitch, best player on the pitch, everything and all of the above. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.